Hello, welcome back to our Bible in a Year reading plan. I am your host, Shanique. As a reminder, I am studying in real time with you. So please ensure that you subscribe so you are notified when the latest episode in our Bible in a Year reading plan drops, okay? So today we're going to be reading from Genesis 21 to 23, and I'm reading from the New American Standard Bible. Okay, let's get started. Genesis chapter 21. Then the Lord took note of Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did for Sarah as he had promised. So Sarah conceived and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the appointed time of which God had spoken to him. Abraham named his son who was born to him, the son whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. Then Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, as God had commanded him. Now Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. Sarah said, God has made laughter for me. Everyone who hears will laugh with me. And she said, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? Yet I have given birth to a son in his old age. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham held a great feast on the day that Isaac was weaned. Now Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, mocking Isaac. Therefore she said to Abraham, drive out the slave woman and her son, for the son of the slave woman shall not be an heir with my son Isaac. The matter distressed Abraham greatly because of his son Ishmael. But God said to Abraham, do not be distressed because of the boy and your slave woman. Whatever Sarah tells you, listen to her. For through Isaac your descendants shall be named. And of the son of the slave woman I will make a nation also, because he is your descendant. So Abraham got up early in the morning and took bread and a skin of water and gave them to Hagar, putting them on her shoulder, and gave her the boy and sent her away. And she departed and wandered about in the wilderness of Beersheba. When the water in the skin was used up, she left the boy under one of the bushes. Then she went and sat down opposite him, about a bow shot away, for she said, may I not see the boy die? And she sat opposite him and raised her voice and wept. God heard the boy crying, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, what is the matter with you, Hagar? Do not fear, for God has heard the voice of the boy where he is. Get up, lift up the boy, and hold him by the hand, for I will make a great nation of him. Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and she filled the skin with water and gave the boy a drink. And God was with the boy, and he grew, and he lived in the wilderness and became an archer. He lived in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took a wife for him from the land of Egypt. Now it came about at that time that Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, spoke to Abraham, saying, God is with you in all that you do. So now swear to me, here by God, that you will not deal falsely with me, or with my offspring, or with my descendants, but according to the kindness that I have shown to you. You shall show to me and to the land in which you have resided. Abraham said, I swear it. But Abraham complained to Abimelech because of the well of water, which the servants of Abimelech had seized. And Abimelech said, I do not know who has done this thing. You did not tell me, nor did I hear of it until today. So Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them to Abimelech, and the two of them made a covenant. But Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. Then Abimelech said to Abraham, what do these 7 ewe lambs mean, which you have set by themselves? He said, you shall take these 7 ewe lambs from my hand, so that it may be a witness for me that I dug this well. Therefore he called that place Beersheba, because there the two of them took an oath. So they made a covenant at Beersheba, and Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, got up and returned to the land of the Philistines. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree at Beersheba, and there he called on the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham resided in the land of the Philistines for many days. Chapter 22. Now it came to pass about after these things that God tested Abraham and said to him, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. Then he said, Take now your son, your only son whom you love, Isaac, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains of which I will tell you. So Abraham got up early in the morning and saddled his donkey and took two of his young men with him and his son Isaac. And he split wood for the burnt offering and set out and went to the place of which God had told him. On the third day, Abraham raised his eyes and saw the place from a distance. Then Abraham said to his young men, Stay here with the donkey, and I and the little boy will go over there, and we will worship and return to you. And Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and laid it on his son Isaac, and he took in his hand the fire and the knife. So the two of them walked on together. Isaac spoke to his father Abram and said, My father. And he said, Here I am, my son. And he said, Look, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? Abraham said, God will provide for himself the lamb for the burnt offering, my son. So the two of them walked on together. Then they came to the place of which God had told him, and Abraham built the altar there and arranged the wood and bound his son as Isaac and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. And Abraham reached out with his hand and took the knife to slaughter his son. But the angel of the Lord called out to him from heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. He said, Do not reach out your hand against the boy, and do not do anything to him. For now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me. Then Abraham raised his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him was a ram caught in the thicket by its horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered it up as a burnt offering in the place of his son. And Abraham named that place, The Lord will provide, as it is said to this day. On the mountain of the Lord it will be provided. Then the angel of the Lord called to Abraham a second time from heaven and said, By myself I have sworn, declares the Lord, because you have done this thing and have not withheld your son, your only son. Indeed, I'll greatly bless you, and I'll greatly multiply your seed as the stars of the heavens and as the sand which is on the seashore, and your seed shall possess the gate of their enemies. And in your seed all the nations of the earth shall be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice. So Abraham returned to his young men, and they got up and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham lived in Beersheba. And it came about after these things that Abraham was told, saying, Behold, Milcah also has borne children to your brother Nahor. Uz, his firstborn, Buz, his brother, Kemuel, the father of Aram, Chesed, Hazo, Pildash, Jidlaph, and Bethuel, and it was Bethuel who fathered Rebekah. These 8 Milcah bore to Nahor, Abraham's brother. His concubine, whose name was Reumah, also gave birth to Tebah, Gaham, Tahash, and Micah. Genesis 23. Now Sarah lived 127 years. These were the years of the life of Sarah. Sarah died in Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came in to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. Then Abraham arose from mourning before his dead and spoke to the sons of Heth, saying, I am a stranger and a foreign resident among you. Give me a burial site among you, so that I may bury my dead out of my sight. The sons of Heth answered Abraham, saying to him, Hear us, my lord, you are a mighty prince among us. Bury your dead in the choicest of our graves. None of us will refuse you his grave for burying your dead. So Abraham stood up and bowed to the people of the land, the sons of Heth, and he spoke with them, saying, If you are willing to let me bury my dead out of my sight, listen to me and plead with Ephron, the son of Zohar, for me, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he owns, which is at the end of his field. For the full price, let him give it to me in your presence for a burial site. Now Ephron was sitting among the sons of Heth, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham, so that the sons of Heth heard, that is, all who entered the gate of his city, saying, No, my lord, listen to me. I give you the field, and I give you the cave that is in it. In the presence of the sons of my people, I give it to you. Bury your dead. And Abraham bowed before the people of the land. But he spoke to Ephron so that the people of the land heard, saying, If you will only please listen to me, I'll give the price of the field, accept it from me, so that I may bury my dead there. Then Ephron answered Abraham, saying to him, My lord, listen to me. A plot of land worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that between me and you? So bury your dead. Abraham listened to Ephron, and Abraham weighed out for Ephron the silver which he had named in the presence of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, currency acceptable to a merchant. So Ephron's field which was in Machpelah, which faced Mamre, the field and the cave which was in it, and all the trees which were in the field, that were within all the confines of its border, were deeded over to Abraham as a possession in the presence of the sons of Heth, before all who entered the gate of his city. After this, Abraham buried his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah, facing Mamre, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. So the field and the cave that was in it were deeded over to Abraham for a burial site by the sons of Heth. Okay, that's our reading for today. So let's examine what we went over today. So in chapter 21, we see God's provision to Hagar and Ishmael in the wilderness. And in her impatience and sin, we see that Sarah, she brought about a terrible situation by coercing Abraham to follow her plan instead of trusting in God's sovereign plan. But we later see that God does not abandon Hagar and Ishmael. The God who sees would see them and would protect them, right? We see that God always keeps his promises. He does what he says he will do. He'll not fail us, and he will never let us down. And though it may not always happen in the way or in the timing that we expect, we see that he is always faithful, and we don't have to take matters into our own hands. Do not have to worry that the path ahead seems impossible. We just need to trust him. Now, in the ensuing chapters, we see the Lord asking Abraham to offer Isaac as a sacrifice. Now, can you imagine what must have been taking place in Abraham's heart and in his mind as he thought about sacrificing his son? I mean, God had promised to make a great nation of him. He had promised that a Messiah would come through his line. But Abraham only had one son. He had one miracle child. And now he was being asked to sacrifice Isaac. Yet Abraham obeyed. I don't know. Perhaps it was because he had seen time and time again that the Lord prove his faithfulness. I don't know. That might be it. So he did what the Lord asked and he began his journey. And Abraham built the altar and he bound Isaac and he was about to raise a knife when a voice from heaven stopped him. And Abraham's words proved to be true. God would provide a lamb. And it is here that Abraham sees a ram caught in the thicket, right? In the same way that God provided that lamb, he one day provides Jesus, the perfect Lamb of God. And that is our reading for today. I hope you took away something from our reading from today. And if you had some other takeaways, I'd love if you just comment below and just to share some of your takeaways from today's reading. So that way we can all just learn from each other. And I hope you'll join us tomorrow again for day 7 in our Bible in our year reading plan. And once again, I just encourage you to subscribe just so you get notified whenever a new episode in our Bible in our year reading plan drops. So thank you again. Hope you have a great day.